In the dazzling glow of New York City, where million-dollar dreams collide with shadowy secrets, a love story that seemed like a fairy tale is twisted into a haunting nightmare. Olivia Harper, a humble woman with an unyielding heart, believed she had found true love in the arms of James Carver, a charismatic tech billionaire. But before the shine of her wedding ring could even fade, a dangerous figure emerged from the shadows. Sophia Laurent. Her piercing gaze icy and her ambitions relentless. Money, power, and betrayal intertwine, thrusting Olivia into a fierce battle to protect her unborn child. Can she turn the tables against a faithless husband and a ruthless mistress? Or will justice carve its path through the city's glittering lights? Brace yourself to be swept away by a real-life drama, pulsing with intensity, where love is tested, truths are laid bare, and a resolute mother rises from the ashes of betrayal. Hit that subscribe button now to dive into this emotionally charged Millionaire saga and discover who will claim the final laugh. In the heart of New York City, where skyscrapers gleam like stars and the pulse of life never falters, Olivia Harper walks with a heart brimming with hope. Born in a simple wooden house on the outskirts of Syracuse, Olivia grew up amid tranquil summer days and harsh winter nights. From a young age, she learned that hard work and perseverance are the keys to reaching far. With a sharp intellect and a will of steel, she earned a scholarship to a prestigious business school, where she spent her 20s conquering the world of tech startups. Every line of code, every business strategy, was a step Olivia took on her journey to build a name for herself. She didn't dream of the glitter of high society, nor did she crave lavish parties or expensive gowns. But fate, like a masterful director, had scripted an entirely different story. One autumn evening, at the opulent Plaza Hotel, Olivia attended a charity gala, where crystal chandeliers cast their glow on champagne flutes and laughter echoed among tuxedos and evening gowns. She was there to support a friend, unbothered by the ostentatious display of wealth. Amid the crowd, Olivia's eyes suddenly locked with those of a man standing just a few steps away. James Carver, a name that resounded in the tech world, appeared as if he'd stepped out of a novel. With sleek black hair, deep soulful eyes, and a smile both warm and enigmatic, James sent Olivia's heart skipping a beat. He was the heir to a vast fortune, but he didn't stop there. Through talent and vision, James had doubled that wealth, transforming it into an empire stretching from Silicon Valley to the trading floors of London and Tokyo. The crowd swarmed around James, powerful CEOs, Hollywood stars, all captivated by his tales. Yet when his gaze swept across the room and settled on Olivia, time seemed to stand still. He approached, confident yet unpretentious, extending his hand with a gentle smile. "James Carver," he introduced himself, his voice low and smooth, like a jazz melody drifting through the night. Olivia, in a simple yet elegant navy dress, returned a sincere smile. "Olivia Harper," she replied, offering no boasts of achievements or lineage. Their conversation began lightly, with playful jabs at the extravagance of the gala, the overpriced vases, the tiny appetizers no one truly ate. But soon, their words ventured deeper, touching on dreams of transforming the world through technology, on ambitions to leave a legacy beyond mere wealth. Olivia, with her candor and intelligence, captivated James. She didn't try to impress, nor did she seek to blend into his dazzling world. Instead, she spoke of late nights toiling at her startup, of her belief that a single good idea could change lives. James, accustomed to flattery, found himself drawn to her authenticity. He opened up about the charitable projects he quietly funded, about the hollow ache that sometimes crept in amidst million-dollar deals. As the soft strains of a violin filled the air, they stood side by side at a grand window, gazing down at Manhattan's twinkling lights, a sea of stars below. A spark ignited, not just physical attraction, but a profound connection, as if two souls had found each other in the chaos of a bustling world. As the gala drew to a close, James escorted Olivia to the door, his eyes lingering with reluctance. "I want to see you again," he said, not as a question, but as a promise. Olivia, her heart racing, nodded. She walked away, feeling as though she had stepped into a new chapter of her life. That night, beneath New York's radiant sky, a love story began. A tale woven with romance but laced with undercurrents, poised to sweep everything away. Olivia had no inkling that meeting James was not only the dawn of love, but also the first step on a path toward brutal trials, where her heart would be tested by betrayal, and her strength would be forged in fire. The love between Olivia Harper and James Carver blazed like an untamable fire, sweeping them into a passionate dance amid the city's twinkling lights and boundless dreams. Every moment they shared was a note in a radiant symphony of romance. Intimate dinners at tucked-away restaurants in Greenwich Village, where candlelight flickered across Olivia's face, let her feel the sincerity shimmering in James's gaze. Spontaneous flights on his private jet, whisking them to the turquoise beaches of the Maldives or the ancient cobblestone streets of Paris, turned each day into a page from a love novel. James listened intently as Olivia poured out her dreams of entrepreneurship, her longing to build a tech company that would deliver true value. He didn't just nod. He asked probing questions, making her believe she had found a soulmate, someone who truly understood and cherished her heart. Just 8 months after that fateful night at the Plaza Hotel, James led Olivia to an ancient villa in Tuscany, where lush green hills stretched beneath a starlit sky. That night, with the moon hanging like an enormous pearl, James took her hand and guided her to a fragrant vineyard. Under the sparkling stars, he knelt, a diamond ring gleaming in his hand as if it held the entire cosmos. "Olivia," he said, his deep voice trembling with emotion, "you are the light in my darkest days. I want to write the rest of my life with you. Will you be my wife?" Olivia, her heart seeming to pause, felt tears streaming down her cheeks. She nodded, unable to speak, knowing this moment was everything she had ever dreamed of. They embraced under the Italian sky, as if the world existed only for them, their love destined to be eternal. Their wedding followed soon after, in a dreamy garden in the Hamptons, where magnolia trees bloomed in profusion, their sweet fragrance mingling with golden sunlight. Olivia glided down a petal-strewn path, her ivory silk dress, simple yet elegant, clinging to her form like a muse stepping from a painting. James, in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, stood waiting beneath a floral arch, his eyes never straying from her for a second. As they exchanged vows, Olivia's voice quivered with emotion, promising to love and cherish James forever. James responded with a sincerity that hushed the garden, as if nature itself were listening. They sealed their bond with their first kiss as husband and wife, amid applause and joyful tears from family and close friends. The reception overflowed with laughter, the clink of champagne glasses, and dances beneath twinkling lanterns. For Olivia, this was the pinnacle of a fairy tale, where love triumphed over all. Yet even in the glow of this happiness, tiny cracks began to appear, like faint fractures on a flawless pane of glass. James, though still a devoted husband, was often pulled from tender moments by late-night phone calls. His low voice echoed from the corner of the room, murmuring words Olivia couldn't make out. When she asked, he smiled, brushing it off with a wave, explaining they were just business. Complex deals with partners in Asia or Europe, demanding immediate attention. Olivia, still intoxicated by the euphoria of love, chose to trust him. She told herself that a man like James, with a global business empire, surely faced pressures she couldn't fully grasp. But deep within her heart, a flicker of unease began to stir, like a chill breeze passing through a summer night. Those secretive calls, the fleeting avoidance in James's eyes when she pressed about work, all planted a tiny seed of doubt in her soul. Olivia tried to push it aside, clinging to the vows they'd made under the Hamptons' sun. But she didn't know that those cracks would soon shatter, plunging her into a storm she could never have imagined. 1 year after the wedding, overflowing with magnolias in the Hamptons, Olivia Harper stepped into a resplendent ballroom in Manhattan, where chandeliers blazed like stars and the air was thick with the scent of expensive perfume. This charity auction gathered New York's elite, billionaires in sleek tuxedos, celebrities with flawless smiles, and philanthropists draped in carefully curated glamour. Olivia, clad in a deep blue silk gown, held the hand of James Carver, the husband she once believed was her destined soulmate. But tonight, something felt off. James, though still flashing his charming smile and offering a warm hand, seemed to be elsewhere, his mind wandering to a place beyond her reach. As Olivia paused before an abstract painting up for auction, admiring its bold strokes, a sudden chill raced down her spine. She looked up and caught James, just a few steps away, engrossed in lively conversation with an unfamiliar woman. That woman was Sophia Loren, a commanding presence radiating captivating allure. Her form-fitting black dress clung to every curve, tailored to accentuate her dangerous elegance. Diamond earrings sparkled under the lights. But it was Sophia's gaze that froze Olivia in place. Those eyes locked onto James, sharp and brimming with ambition, like a hunter silently sizing up her prey before the strike. Sophia's smile, though impeccable, carried a cold edge, as if she were playing a high-stakes chess game in which Olivia had yet to be invited. Instinct urged Olivia to act. She approached, a polite smile blooming on her lips like a fragile shield. "Hello, I'm Olivia," she said, her voice soft yet resolute, extending her hand. Sophia turned, her eyes scanning Olivia from head to toe, as though appraising an unworthy rival. Her hand, adorned with a dazzling diamond ring, brushed Olivia's in a touch as icy as frost. "Sophia Loren," she replied, her tone smooth but laced with an unmistakable challenge. James, sensing the tension, quickly interjected, his voice tinged with unease. "Sophia is the daughter of a business partner," he explained, his hands slipping into his pockets as if to mask his discomfort. "We're discussing a charity project, something we might collaborate on in the future." His words sounded reasonable, but Sophia's gaze, sharp as a blade, told an entirely different story. Olivia nodded, striving to maintain her composure, but her heart pounded fiercely. Throughout the evening, Sophia lingered like a specter, shadowing their every move. She appeared in fleeting moments, inserting herself into conversations with sly remarks about James's brilliance in business, each word a hidden dagger piercing Olivia's heart. When James laughed in response, Olivia felt an invisible chasm widening between them. She tried to dismiss the unease, convincing herself she was overthinking. Perhaps Sophia was merely a work acquaintance, and James, with his sprawling business empire, naturally had to engage with countless people. But the image of Sophia's predatory gaze, like a panther stalking in the dark, haunted her. In one rare moment when they stood close, Sophia leaned in, whispering something into James's ear, and her smug smile sent a shiver rippling through Olivia's entire being. As the auction drew to a close and they stepped out of the ballroom, Manhattan's twinkling lights flickered outside, a reminder of the dazzling world they inhabited. Olivia sat in the luxurious car carrying them home, her gaze lost among the towering skyscrapers. James held her hand, but the gesture lacked its familiar warmth. She forced a smile, desperate to believe her unease was a figment of her imagination. But deep within her soul, a quiet voice warned that Sophia Loren was no mere passerby. She was a threat, a venomous breeze poised to sweep through Olivia's marriage, and what Olivia had witnessed tonight was only the beginning of a storm for which she was not yet prepared. In the weeks following the charity auction in Manhattan, a shadow of doubt began to creep into Olivia Harper's heart. James Carver, the husband who once made her believe in fairy tale romances, now felt like a stranger. Late-night phone calls, their low murmurs echoing from the corner of the room, became a regular part of their lives. Sudden business trips, stretching on for days without clear explanation, left Olivia feeling isolated in their luxurious Central Park penthouse. James's eyes, once ablaze with passion when they met hers, now often darted away, as if guarding a secret too heavy to share. Olivia tried to push aside her unease, reassuring herself that a man like James, with a global business empire, surely faced pressures she couldn't fully comprehend. But each time he left, abandoning her to the silence of their home, a new crack appeared in the perfect canvas of their marriage. One early morning, as the first rays of dawn slipped through silk curtains, Olivia awoke with a wave of fatigue and nausea. Sitting on the edge of the bed, her hand resting on her stomach, a strange intuition stirred within her. She recalled subtle signs from recent days, the unusual sensitivity, the lingering exhaustion. With her heart pounding, Olivia quietly left the penthouse, slipping into a small pharmacy on a tranquil Manhattan street, far from the prying eyes of the city's crowds. She purchased a pregnancy test, her hands trembling as she held it, as if it cradled her entire future. Back in the opulent bathroom, its marble walls gleaming, Olivia stood before the mirror, drawing a deep breath. When 2 pink lines appeared on the test, her heart seemed to stop. She was pregnant. A dream she had cherished in quiet moments, yet never dared to share with James, fearing he wasn't ready for fatherhood. Joy mingled with apprehension flooded her, and Olivia cradled her belly, sensing a spark of hope amidst the growing doubts. That evening, Olivia resolved to transform this joy into a cherished memory. She prepared a romantic dinner in the candlelit dining room, the aroma of her handcrafted beef Wellington wafting through the air. Flickering candles cast a soft glow on the large windows, where the city's twinkling lights danced like a wordless melody. Olivia donned a flowing silk dress, her hair cascading loosely, and waited for James, picturing his smile when she shared the news of their child. She imagined him enveloping her in an embrace, whispering words of love, and together dreaming of a new future. But as hours passed, the clock on the wall ticked relentlessly, and James didn't appear. Olivia checked her phone, dialed his number, only to be met with the cold voice of his voicemail. Her initial joy gave way to anxiety. She stood by the window, gazing at the stream of traffic below, wondering what could be keeping the man she loved. By midnight, when hope had nearly faded, the front door creaked open. James staggered in, his steps unsteady, the sharp scent of scotch clinging to him. His eyes were weary, his hair disheveled, and his voice a faint mumble as he muttered about a business dinner that ran late. No apology, no tender glance. He collapsed onto the bed, slipping into sleep almost instantly. Olivia stood beside him, her heart weighed down as if by a stone. The joy of their child, the moment she thought would bridge their divide, was now shrouded in a veil of suspicion. She watched James sleep, his face once a source of comfort, now stirring only unanswered questions. Was this man who had knelt under the Tuscan sky to propose still the James she fell for? Or had he been swept into a world beyond her reach? Olivia extinguished the candles, the last faint glow in the room fading, leaving her in darkness. She placed a hand on her belly, feeling the tiny life growing within, and resolved to keep the pregnancy a secret, at least until she could unravel the truth. Unease swept through her soul like a bitter wind, but deep inside, a new strength began to take root, the strength of a mother ready to face any challenge to protect her child. By the 7th month of her pregnancy, Olivia Harper felt the weight of the entire world pressing down on her shoulders. Her rounded belly, cradling the growing life of her child, was the sole source of joy amidst days, shadowed by mounting doubts. Sitting in the lavish penthouse overlooking Central Park, where the city's twinkling lights flickered like silent whispers, Olivia clung desperately to the hope that her marriage to James Carver could still be salvaged. But an unexpected phone call shattered the perfect picture she had once believed in. The caller was Mark, an old acquaintance from her days in the tech startup world. His voice over the phone was hesitant, as if each word fought to break free. "Olivia, I don't want to meddle," he began, "but I came across some documents about James's company. There are large sums, massive sums, being transferred overseas to an account under the name Sophia Laurent." Her name, Sophia Laurent, struck like a razor-sharp blade, tearing through Olivia's heart. She gripped the phone tightly, her breath catching in her throat. Mark pressed on, his voice lowering. "I just thought you should know." When the call ended, Olivia sat motionless, her gaze lost in the dark canopy of trees beyond the window. Sophia, the woman with the predatory gaze at the charity auction, was no longer a vague threat, but a tangible wound in Olivia's life. That night, when James stepped into the penthouse, the scent of expensive cologne and his weary expression only fueled the fire of suspicion raging within Olivia. She rose, her hands cradling her pregnant belly, as if shielding her unborn child from what was to come. "James," she said, her voice trembling yet resolute, "why are you sending money to Sophia Laurent?" The air between them froze. James furrowed his brow, his eyes flicking past her before he responded, his tone flat, like a rehearsed speech. "It's just an investment, tied to her father's company. You don't need to worry." But the lingering silence that followed, the way he averted her gaze, spoke truths his words couldn't conceal. Olivia felt her heart splinter, yet she held her silence, refusing to let him see her vulnerability. Days later, a fleeting moment ripped away the veil of deception. James left his phone on the kitchen counter, its screen lighting up with a new message. Olivia, though knowing she shouldn't, couldn't resist glancing at it. The words seared into her like a blade. "We need to talk about your wife soon, Sophia." Those words drained the air from the room. Olivia's last shred of hope, that it was all a misunderstanding, vanished like mist under the morning sun. Sophia was not just a business associate, not just a passing shadow. She was a living, breathing threat, a schemer plotting to seize the life Olivia had built with James. Determined to confront the truth, Olivia sought out Sophia at a fashion event in Soho, where stage lights illuminated haute couture collections and hollow laughter echoed through the room. Sophia stood there, regal as a queen, in a fiery red dress that hugged her frame, her lips painted scarlet curling into a smug smile. Olivia, her heart pounding and hands trembling, stepped forward, her eyes locking onto her rival. "I know what you and James are doing," Olivia said, her voice low but razor sharp. Sophia raised an eyebrow, her smile cold as ice. "You're so naive, Olivia," she replied, her tones silky yet venomous. "James and I belong together. You're just an obstacle, and he'll see that soon enough." Sophia's words stung like a slap, but Olivia stood firm, her gaze blazing. "You're wrong," she shot back, her voice steady despite her breaking heart. "I won't give up that easily." The space between them crackled with tension, like a taut string about to snap. Sophia merely smiled, but a flicker of uncertainty crossed her eyes at Olivia's unwavering resolve. As Olivia left the event, Soho's twinkling lights seemed to remind her of the harsh world she was stepping into. She knew this confrontation was only the beginning. Sophia wasn't just another woman. She was a tempest, and Olivia, carrying her child, would have to fight to protect what was hers. The real battle, she realized, was looming, and she would need every ounce of strength to face it. As Olivia Harper's pregnancy entered its final weeks, each heartbeat of the child within her served as a poignant reminder of the strength she needed to summon. Sitting in the opulent penthouse overlooking the dazzling lights of Central Park, Olivia fought to hold on to the fragments of her marriage to James Carver, clinging to the fragile hope that the fiery love they once shared could still be saved. But late one night, as the clock ticked through the silent hours, James stumbled in, his steps unsteady. the pungent smell of scotch clinging to him. His eyes, once alight with adoration when they met hers, were now clouded, distant. He collapsed into a chair, his gaze dodging hers, and dropped a bombshell that obliterated Olivia's world. "We should separate," he said, his voice thick with liquor and exhaustion. "This marriage, it's over, Olivia." James's words pierced her heart like a jagged blade. She stood frozen, her hands tightly cradling her swollen belly, the floor beneath her seeming to melt away. The baby inside her stirred faintly, as if offering solace, but the agony of James's betrayal left her breathless. "Separate?" she echoed, her voice quivering with anger and pain. "You want to abandon me? Abandon our child right now?" James bowed his head, silent, but his silence screamed louder than any response. Olivia, though her heart was breaking, found the strength to stand resolute. "No," she declared, her voice unwavering. "I won't agree to a separation, not now. Our baby is almost here, and you owe me, you owe our child, stability." James nodded faintly, as if eager to end the exchange, then slipped quietly into the darkness of the bedroom, leaving Olivia alone with her swirling, anguished thoughts. Just days later, a thick envelope arrived from James's law firm, a final, cruel thrust of the knife. Olivia opened it, her hands trembling, and read the cold, clinical words listing irreconcilable differences, as if the love they once shared had been nothing more than a failed transaction. The divorce papers, drafted with ruthless precision, were stark proof that James had chosen to walk away from her, to forsake their unborn child. Olivia sank into a chair, tears streaming down her cheeks. But amid this anguish, a new spark began to kindle. She couldn't let herself crumble. Not now, when the child she carried needed her more than ever. Determined to find a way forward, Olivia reached out to Robert, a trusted mentor from her business school days. Robert, a seasoned Boston lawyer with silver hair and piercing eyes, had always been a beacon of reliability. In a long phone call, she poured out everything, from the passionate days of love with James, to the cracks in their marriage, and now the brutal sting of his betrayal alongside the looming presence of Sophia Laurent. Robert's voice was steady, yet brimming with resolve. "Olivia, you're stronger than you realize," he said. "You need a sharp legal mind, someone unafraid to confront James and his powerful team." He connected her with David Bennett, a renowned New York family lawyer known for his incisive negotiation skills and ironclad determination in the courtroom. Olivia stepped into David's sleek midtown office, her heart heavy but her gaze unflinching. The glass walls and minimalist decor did nothing to deter her. Sitting across from David, a man with salt and pepper hair and a calming presence, she recounted her story. From the starry nights in Tuscany where James proposed, to the secretive calls, the shady transactions, and finally the heartless call for separation. David listened intently, jotting notes with care, and when she finished, he leaned forward. "Olivia," he said, his voice firm, "I will fight for you and your child. James may have money, but the law is on your side. We'll ensure your son's future is secure." His promise pierced the darkness like a ray of light, igniting a flicker of hope in Olivia's soul. As her due date drew near, Olivia felt a profound shift within her spirit. She was no longer the naive wife, trusting in James's sweet promises. She was a mother, a warrior, ready to face any challenge to protect her son. Each gentle kick from her baby reminded her that she would not let James or Sophia strip away her dignity. A fierce resilience blazed within her, and she knew that, though the path ahead was fraught with hardship, she would walk it with her head held high, for herself and for the future of the child she loved above all else. In the piercing chill of a New York winter day, Olivia Harper welcomed her newborn son, Liam, a tiny soul with crystal-clear eyes and a robust cry that echoed through the hospital room. Amid the prolonged throes of labor, Olivia faced the ordeal without James Carver by her side. Instead, Ava, her closest friend, gripped her hand tightly, murmuring words of encouragement through each wrenching contraction. When Liam finally rested in Olivia's arms, a torrent of fierce love surged within her, momentarily dissolving all pain and doubt. But that fleeting joy was soon tested when James appeared, late and unkempt. The unfamiliar scent of cologne clung to his clothes, and his bloodshot eyes betrayed hours spent elsewhere, likely with Sophia Laurent. "I'll provide for the boy," James said, his voice dry, as if it were a mere business transaction. Olivia, clutching Liam close, met his gaze with steely resolve. "You chose this path when you brought Sophia into our marriage," she replied, her tone even yet brimming with the strength of a mother poised to defend her child. James offered no response. He merely dipped his head and walked away, leaving Olivia with a resolve that burned ever brighter. Months later, a Manhattan courtroom became the arena where Olivia confronted her past and fought for Liam's future. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the hushed whispers of reporters and curious stares from onlookers creating a mood as taut as a violin string. Olivia sat at her table, dressed in a simple black dress, her eyes focused but her heart hammering in her chest. Beside her was David Bennett, her attorney, a steadfast beacon guiding her through this legal maelstrom. With razor-sharp clarity and unshakable calm, David laid out Olivia's case, each word a hammer strike shattering James's web of deceit. He presented irrefutable evidence, intimate texts between James and Sophia, murky financial dealings funneling millions into her accounts, and the gut-wrenching truth that James had abandoned Olivia during her final months of pregnancy, leaving her to grapple with pain and uncertainty alone. Judge Margaret Stone, a woman with tightly coiled silver hair and eyes sharp as a razor, presided over the proceedings with uncompromising sternness. She listened intently, took meticulous notes, and scrutinized every detail with unwavering focus. As David concluded his presentation, the room seemed to a breathless hush. James's legal team, clad in expensive suits and armed with slick rhetoric, attempted to push back. They painted Olivia as an overly sensitive wife, exaggerating misunderstandings for personal gain. But when David produced financial records and undeniable text exchanges, their defenses began to crumble. Judge Stone leaned forward, her gaze pinning James. "Mr. Carver," she said, her voice low but commanding authority, "do you deny the allegations of your relationship with Ms. Laurent?" James, beads of sweat dotting his brow, glanced at his lawyer before answering, his voice so faint it was nearly inaudible. "No, Your Honor," he murmured. The admission resounded like a thunderclap, reverberating through the courtroom, and Olivia felt a surge of relief intertwined with lingering pain coursing through her. The final ruling crashed down like a tidal wave, sweeping away all uncertainty. Judge Stone declared Olivia the sole guardian of Liam, acknowledging her as a devoted and resilient mother. James was ordered to pay substantial child support, reflective of his vast wealth, ensuring Liam's future was secure. Furthermore, she mandated further investigation into James's financial transactions, warning that any illegal activity uncovered would bring severe consequences. The sharp rap of the judge's gavel rang out, crisp and decisive, marking Olivia's resounding triumph. She sat there, her hands clenched tightly, silent tears tracing down her cheeks. Not from sorrow, but from vindication and the realization that justice had finally prevailed. In a corner of the courtroom, Sophia Laurent, draped in a flawless designer gown, could not mask her fury. The haughty smile that once served as her weapon had vanished, replaced by a venomous glare as her schemes unraveled. Olivia caught her eye briefly, but felt no spite, only the serene calm of someone who had weathered a storm. As she left the courtroom, cradling Liam tightly in her arms, her eyes shone with renewed faith. Justice was more than a verdict. It was the fire that had forged her, transforming her from a betrayed wife into an indomitable mother, ready to pen the next chapter for herself and her son. The court's verdict shook James Carver's world like a seismic quake. The glittering business empire he had meticulously crafted began to teeter, its polished facade marred by visible cracks. Long-standing partners, who once revered his brilliance, quietly withdrew from deals. Shareholders, enraged by the sensational headlines surrounding his divorce, openly condemned his irresponsibility. On social media, Sophia Loren, who had dreamed of becoming Mrs. Carver, became the target of relentless mockery. Images of her stepping out from lavish parties, her smile strained and her eyes frantic, spread like wildfire across X and Instagram. The woman who once exuded regal confidence, certain that wealth and beauty would secure everything, was now branded a failed gold digger, a fading silhouette in the spotlight she so desperately craved. Meanwhile, Olivia Harper chose a different path, one of quiet yet profound purpose. With the child support awarded by the court, she purchased a modest townhouse in Brooklyn, where tree-lined streets and the laughter of playing children restored a sense of peace she had long lost. The house, with its cream-colored walls and wide windows that welcomed sunlight, became a sanctuary for her and baby Liam. Each morning, Olivia woke to her son's radiant smile, his clear eyes like beams of light dispelling the shadows of her past. She devoted herself to nurturing Liam, from changing diapers to singing lullabies through sleepless nights, but she never abandoned her own dreams. Olivia launched a consulting business for small companies, leveraging her years in the tech industry to help them thrive in a cutthroat market. This work not only provided income, but also reignited her passion, making her feel she was living true to her authentic self. One spring afternoon, as Brooklyn's cherry blossoms began to bloom in vibrant splendor, Olivia received an unexpected message from James. "I need to see you. Please." The tone lacked his usual confidence, replaced by an unfamiliar sincerity. Though hesitant, Olivia agreed to meet him at a cozy nearby cafe, where the aroma of roasted coffee mingled with a warm ambiance. She pushed Liam's stroller, her gaze cautious yet open. James arrived, stripped of the flashy aura of a tech mogul, dressed in a simple button-up shirt, his hair slightly tousled, his eyes carried a quiet sorrow. He sat across from her, his hands clasped tightly as if to steady his emotions. "Olivia," he began, his voice trembling softly. "I'm sorry. For everything. I let Sophia manipulate me, let selfishness blind me to what truly matters. I want to be a good father to Liam." Olivia listened, her heart no longer stirred by James, but she recognized the genuineness in his words. She no longer loved him, no longer wished to revisit the shattered days of their past. But for Liam's sake, she was willing to give him a chance. "You can be part of Liam's life," she said, her voice calm but firm. "But you have to prove you're worthy, not with words, but with actions." James nodded, a glimmer of relief in his eyes, as if Olivia's words were a lifeline in the darkness he had woven for himself. They parted in silence, no promises, no ties, only an unspoken agreement for the sake of the child they both cherished. As Olivia left the cafe, guiding Liam's stroller through Brooklyn's tree-shaded streets, a wave of freedom washed over her. She had triumphed, not just in the courtroom with a just verdict, but within her own heart. From the ashes of betrayal, she had built a new life, where her love for Liam was the flame that warmed every day. Each step she took on the Brooklyn sidewalk was a testament to her resilience, to her ability to rise after the deepest wounds. Olivia was no longer the forsaken wife. She was a formidable mother, a woman who had found her own light. Olivia's story is a powerful reminder that, no matter how dense the darkness, justice and perseverance always find a way to shine through. If her journey stirs your heart, Hit the like button and share to spread the message of a mother's strength and the unyielding truth. Subscribe to our channel to catch more gripping millionaire tales, where love, betrayal, and triumph collide in the glare of wealth's spotlight.